This is iRacing.
Important for the AM category.
Elijah White, Kachow, he's got the plate, goes Attic over. Down Matt Daniel. So Adnan Mostatic.
This is a fabled mountain road. They have raced this place for many a year with just one change in its history, going all the way back to 1938. The only change of this circuit was the addition of one chicane known as the Chase in 1987. Since then, this has been a track of known quantities, of 12 hours worth of racing, of 1,000 kilometers that have gone on. And it is also the place today of fantastic MX5 battling. It is all coming up to the final 3 rounds of the championship. So welcome yourself to the mountain and Australia's answer to one of the toughest race circuits in the world. My name's Jake Sperry here on the Global SimRacing channel, joined alongside with Craig King for today's action. Christian Deploy is in the director's chair and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. But to a circuit that is a pilgrimage for Australian racing of every single variety. The circuit beyond all other circuits out there in Australasia. We'll take a look at what makes this circuit so legendary as your GSRC track guide will show you how to drive it.
Welcome to Mount Panorama Circuit. Most drivers simply refer to this place as Bathurst, with it being located just to the southwest of the city's major hub. But most ominously, and perhaps appropriately, it's been nicknamed the Mountain. With more than 500 feet of elevation change over the course of a lap, it's easy to understand why. Though originally built for racing, it's become a street circuit over time, with the track itself used for regular traffic and featuring residential housing all along the roads. This makes this 4-mile, 23-turn course incredibly unique in the world of racing. In the past, the track has hosted a variety of types of cars, including open-wheelers. But modern safety standards means that most competitive racing has now been limited to sports cars and touring cars. However, the dangers are very real due to the incredibly high speeds and lack of runoff throughout much of the circuit. The quickest parts are the run up the mountain straight towards Griffin's Bend, and then the flat-out blast back down the Conrad Straight and into the chase. This chicane was added in the late 80s to break up the run down to Murray's Corner. But while most chicanes are derided for ruining the character of a track, the terrifying speed as you approach it and the general difficulty make it fit right in with Bathurst challenges. However, the toughest portions are undoubtedly along the mountain itself, with notorious corners like the Cutting, Brock Skyline, the Dipper, and Forest Elbow. In fact, one of the more unique worries of this course is that all of these parts are so narrow that track blockages due to wrecks are not uncommon in the first few laps. The Australian fans often line the fences and hillsides to witness the daredevil spectacle of drivers trying to claim King of the Mountain. You can't blame them with how rare of a sight a track like Bathurst is today.
Officially, South Bathurst Mount Panorama it finds itself in New South Wales, and it's on the outskirts of the run towards Sydney out there. It's just between Sydney and Orange, and so now you look at a track which has one of the most known quantities about this one here, Craig. 2 big long straights to go and get overtaking done, and outside of those 2 long straights, it's a case of sit on the mountain, single file, and wait your turn.
Yeah, Kevin Estra once said that this track is half the track is the Nordschleife and half the track is Macau, and you can see why, because you got those long straights, and that won't be where you see a lot of overtaking today. You'll be seeing a lot of fuel saving, but it's getting up the hill. It's tight. It's so tight you go up it through Griffin, up to Quarry as well, and then you have to go down it at Skyline, and it's a blind braking for these cars at Skyline, and that's going to be a big moment. Last time me and Jake saw Mazdas or saw anything slow around this track, they went side by side up the hill. The Mazdas, I don't think we'll be seeing that. Forest Elbow is a corner that can really catch the drivers out as well, though, because not only do you have to brake right on the lip, That's going to cause a lot of moments for the weight balance of that car using the braking to their advantage. And that's going to be a name of the game here when you go down that hill. The Mazdas need to use the weight transfer to get that balance right. And because they don't have any downforce, the rear, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few rears hit the wall going down Skyline.
And that will be the big scare as they go over the top of Peterbrook Skyline on this 6.21 kilometre, 23 turn behemoth here in Australia, and manage what is a very, very tough racetrack, even for the very best that MX5s have to offer. Now, let's go talk championship here at the moment, because as it stands for Pro, it is now looking more and more like Adnan Grozdanic's to go and lose. 47 points, I don't think he can lose overnight, but he could definitely have a massive issue if he gets caught up in an incident at any point between now and the end of this season. Matt Kendall, with his consistency and a critical win last time out at the feature race of VIR, will be looking as the main challenger at 47 points adrift. It is then Ade Koba in third and Giuseppe Milo fourth, ahead of Jaume Dalmases and Lars Fischer, fifth and sixth. Henry Mackenzie Friedman is seventh ahead of Michael Chase. Just the 4 points between Chase and Xavier Kane there in ninth position, as Adrian Borowski makes up the top 10 in category. Craig, as far as AMs go, it is a much tighter affair.
Oh, it is so tight, and the penalty last week for Jake Ratcliffe is the difference between him and Adrian Louineau, because the gap is just 2 points with the Frenchman having the lead, and he will be putting the fingers up saying he's going for first today. Braden Hope is right behind as well. He is a good shot to try and sneak into the victory lane, into the championship, and you've got to look at Elijah White as well. It's a little bit on the outside, still got a chance. Technically, Lars Ulrich as well, with 3 straight clean race bonus points. That may help him as well, but you look at the rest of the field, Jorge Diaz, Vincent van der Murbroek, who was leading at one point in the championship, but had a miss week last week, and Thiago Pirro, Victor Bernaf, and Bruno Lisbosa at the back of the top 10, not really close, but my word, there's at least 5 car drivers that's got a chance for this amateur championship.
They certainly do, so keep your eyes on who is having a good week and who is not out there, because it will make all of the difference. Now, here at round 6 of 8, this is an endurance round. They're on the even rounds. 50 minutes to go and decide a race winner, and critically, 1 mandatory pit stop is required. And this is one of the trickiest pit entries out there in iRacing, because you've got to dance over curbs, single track, to go and get in. So you have to be well behaved to know when the right time to come in will be. They're all running fixed setup out there, so it's about the best who can get in front with the tools available, rather than that they've set the car up to be a little bit faster than someone else. And if they do get into an incident somewhere on circuit, there is 1 spare car available in their back pocket. Think of it as a T car, which allows you to get back out on track and say, my race is not over and done with. I can still score the minor points paying positions as and when it goes. And although we are talking about the deals, the biggest iRacing sale of the year is just about coming to an end. You have until the end of play tonight in America to go and get your Black Friday deal sorted. If you are a new member, you can get 50% off of a brand new membership. And if you're looking for a new renewal or a reactivation, it's 25% off by heading over to iRacing.com/Black Friday. So, with that in mind, qualifying is currently underway. 10 minutes in order to set lap times. They will have a maximum of 2 laps available to them today. A lap time around here is about 2.5 minutes. So once you get your out lap sorted and go onto your flying laps, you're using 7.5 of the 10 minutes available to go and put your lap times on the board. So it shows actually how tough it is to get yourself out there and making a charge on it. Ollie Bailey, your reigning champion then, working hard there in the 5-star motorsport machine, really having to fight down the hill there, through the dipper, and over towards here, Craig, the Forest Elbow.
Yeah, down to the Forest Elbow, and this is where it's tough. Where do you get on the throttle? And oh, just be careful. You want to get on the throttle early there for the Forest Elbow. but not enough to just tap the wall or having to lift off. Crucial fact that we've not talked about today, this is Australia, as they like to say. It's 50 Celsius track temp. That's 122 Fahrenheit. I just heard you there, Jake. I have never seen a racetrack this hot on iRacing. I think the hottest I may have seen just a little bit, even when it comes to ovals, but when it comes to road racing, you don't get anything hotter than this. Don't hit the curb here as you come through the chase. You want to keep the car not upset there. But with these temperatures, it's now 51 Celsius. Can we cook an egg on this?
Yeah, we are very much on the dog walk to fried egg schedule right now in full fried egg mode. That's wide through the final corner by Ollie Bailey. That lap's going to be abandoned then as Nicholas Goebel goes quickest on a 2:31.1. The highest I've seen out there in iRacing was a 56-degree track temperature at Interlagos. That's the highest I've seen, but there is your championship leader overall, Adnan Grozdanic, who is looking to try and put his second lap down. His first didn't count, and you'll be able to see there on our timing tower, anybody in white on the tower is your pro, anyone in black is your am, and so that's your differentiation between the categories out there, working up through turn number 2, the quarry bend, and up to the cutting 3 and 4. Big wide line in, trying to hold the pace. Tiny little counter steer from him as the newest partner of SimLab.
And look, he's having more dancing again. We had this last week when he was on the straight, going down the back of VIR, having a little bit of a dance, and then dancing as he came across the start-finish line. Look at him. He's dancing when you're at the top of the hill, coming up through the Frog Hollow here into Solomon Park. You don't really want to be having too much fun. But now let's see what he does over the hill into McPhillamy. You can attack that inside curve so much. Little bit of slide hitting the curve and then down into Skyline. And just look at the control. Where do you shift down? He shifts early to keep it into second all the way through. And I think he may have got a 0x there for tapping the wall. And I think the hands there, because even a 0x will cancel your lap out here.
Yeah, and if he has hit the wall and his lap time's gone, then let's stare down the barrel of the fact that he won't be qualifying the car. He'll have to go all the way from the back of the field. The only saving grace he'll have is he'll have a higher I rating than almost everybody out there, which will mean he'll start higher than those who haven't set a time. David Terron, nice to see him back out there and trying to put some times in. He's currently second on a 2:31.4, so 5-star have come out in force today, looking to try and get points. Dario Frattini currently third, and Matt Kendall fourth on a 2:31.8. We talk about that mountain section being one of the tightest out there. You're going to have to keep your eyes peeled for who can get a lap time in on the board. Terron working through Murray's corner and over towards the line. We'll see what it's going to be. It is not as quick. It's a 2:31.5 out there, so was unable to improve at a Koba. Then the man from the Gran Canarias, only 5th.
Yeah, well, Adnan Grozdanic's time did count as well. And look where he is. He's 10th. What a shock that is. Justin Hodge is going to come across the line. We've only got 1, 2, 3 AM drivers setting a timeout here. What can Hodge do? He's going to put his car with 2:32.5. That's good enough to take pole position for the AMs away from Ratcliffe. You can see the times. This is the track that you want to almost learn. We always talk about the Nürburgring experts here, Jake, on iRacing. And people, when a Nürburgring race comes up, when it's that week, they flock to it no matter what the car. You kind of get that here with Bathurst, just because of the nature of the track. It's a long track, it's a technical track, it's a driver's track. And I think you can start to see that some of the drivers, they like it, and some of the drivers, they are really struggling out there. And Luino said he lost his skill out there today. Braden is hoping he keeps his skill.
Well, if you can't get this circuit to work for you, this might be the sort of day where just finishing is going to get you the result that you want. It's not always the case of it's going to be everything you need and then some. Braden Hope then looking to try and put some damage in on Ratcliffe and as well on Lunio for that championship. Not going to get it with that lap over the line. Giuseppe Milo is next behind as someone who can threaten the top 5 if he can get a lap together. Milo crosses the line, doesn't get anything either. Charles Wolfe with a full case of opposite lock. stock in the trunk. Nothing there. So we'll go back to Scriffignano, who's got 30 seconds here to get this time in. It's going to be close for the Kitty Cat car on the rear, as he's got it all lined up to say, can I go and get it done? 20 seconds then through the chase, trying to get the pivot through the corner. 15 seconds as he works to the Armour All Bridge, and there will be a case of one final corner. 10 seconds. It's a short run to the line. 5 seconds for Scriffignano to get himself a time. 2, 1, and he just crosses in time with a 2:32.8. Good enough to bump Grosdanic down another one. Your top 10 will look as follows here for this 50-minute race, round 6 of MX5 United Season 2. It's Nicholas Goebel who will have the pole position on a 2:31.1. Absolutely stellar time from him. He's almost 3/10 clear of his teammate David Terron with that effort. Dario Frattini and Matt Kendall are 3rd and 4th, with Ade Koba for Simify Esports 5th, and Lars Fischer in P6. Michael Chase and Per Sandberg will go from 7th and 8th, with Charles Wolfe in 9th, and Justin Hodge rounding out your top 10.
We've got just 6 more drivers who set a time as Philip Scriffignano, sorry. Get that name wrong, I always apologize, in 11th. Adnan Grosdanic in a shot 12th. Elijah White will take the AMs there in 13th, with Jake Ratcliffe in 14th. Then it's Henry Mackenzie Friedman in 15th. Adrian Luino, last of the time qualifiers, and we'll run it down here, not in order of iRating, but in order of for positions. You'll see Ollie Bailey 17th, Milo 18th, Borowski 19th, Van der Meerbrocker in 20th, and I'll just go for the last 4 as well, because that is going to be Dennis Lins, Braden Hope, Victor Van Aert, and Lars Ulrich.
So they'll all have to work from the back. And one thing to know, in-sim time has switched from a midday 51-degree qualifying to near enough 6 p.m. in-sim time, and a track temperature that is now down to 25 degrees Celsius. It is a night and day difference right now between what the track was doing in qualifying and the race. And Craig, what do you think the biggest difference is for drivers with a almost 25 degrees Celsius difference for the track?
Well, they've done an hour of practice. They did practice last night as well, and they would have learned how to get braking in those hot conditions. When it's hotter, you need to just extend your braking a little bit earlier. You need to be smoother with your inputs. That's with steering. That's with throttling. Now you lose that. You've cut the temperature down by half. Exactly. It's like it's Black Friday. And now you just have to look at the idea that you can brake a little bit later, but you're going to make mistakes, and that's when we may see some drivers actually get caught out, because they may think that they can just brake a little bit later and get caught out. So be a little bit more aggressive on the turning. Be a little bit more aggressive on that throttle. Be careful with the braking. It's all a big change. What a turn of tables this will be.
It will, and what will also be worth noting, it's only a short pace lap here, so they're going to have to be very switched on from the moment. You know that you've got the likes of Nicholas Goebel there, who's looking to prove what he's all about. 5-star first, 5-star in second. Then it is the WMP1 cars, 3rd and 4th, that look to make this happen. 50 minutes are on the clock. Green flag in the air, and we are underway for racing action. And immediately they're fanning back there 3 wide, some even trying to think 4 wide. A good option into turn number 1. The likes then of Henry Mackenzie Friedman chucking it in. Goebel gets the run that he wants out of turn 1, and now they'll look to crest the mountain straight for the first time. In line, they're going to have to all try and find themselves. Ultimately, it's Dario Frattini who will be looking around saying, well, what am I going to do? I'm being freight trained out, and a bump that is going 6 cars deep as they head to the quarry turn of turn number 2. Goebel in the middle of the road holds the defense. Kendall up to 3rd.
Yeah, Kendall needs that overtake pretty quickly. Are we going to see any drivers having a moment out there? I think Friedman's lost a few. Justin Hodge is well losing, and this is where it gets a little bit more treacherous when you come around into quarry and now into the cutting. Some drivers will look to make some moves. I see Justin Hodge. Justin Hodge just defensive position around the outside of Scriffignano, and he managed to get it going. This is, though, Grosdanic getting a crucial start here. He's not lost positions. He's not gained, and look at him. He's calm. He's happy where he is right now, Jake. Everyone has now got into single file, and this is what you need to see, because if you were going a bit side by side right here, you'd be losing out, you'd be losing that slipstream.
Yeah, well, it's good that he's got a smile on his face. Someone who won't is Adrian Lunio, who's gone into the wall at the cutting on the opening lap of the race. And so as they drop down the hill for the first time in this 50 minutes, it's going to be as tough as it goes for them as they work to the Forest elbow. And look, watching this, Jake Ratcliffe here, the AM leader in 10th. Top right of your screen, Lunio just over sent it into the corner. He tags Henry Mackenzie Friedman with him, and then has a big shunt into the wall. It's very unforgiving. It's just earth banking there on the outside, but critically, no black and orange mechanical flag. He can do okay as they head to the fastest corner in Australian sim racing, the chase.
Wouldn't be surprised if the 5-star guys, they're not bumping, they're just waiting, and they're just holding together. Teron does not want to be aggressive here to push. Grosdanek needs to be a little bit aggressive, and you can start to see he's going for it in front of him. Charles Wolf loses it, and that was just a little case there of taking too much speed and trying to avoid hitting the curves, so he just took a really wide line almost there, losing out there a lot of positions, and he's also lost a toe and getting caught up in the back markers.
I think he overcooked it in there. That's why the back looped around, because he had so much on the brakes trying to get it slowed down. So 1.3 seconds the gap. We're talking about 1.5 the rubber band of slipstream snapped. So Grosdanek with it all to do to chase down. Also in that group, Ollie Bailey and Adrian Borowski will want to jump up in it, and so too Justin Hodge, who of course is someone who can go out there, challenge top 3. Giuseppe Milo, who's 4th in the championship, another one. So it is Goebel and Teron who are giving the push. Kendall happy in that 3rd place. Here's Charles Wolf, so he's on the brakes here, trying to get it slowed, and he's just overcooked it in. Full opposite locks, never going to bring it back.
No, he would have been better to just put a bit more braking, and even if he overshot the corner and lost a little bit of time, probably would have been better off than what he did, but he kept the car clean, even though he spun back over the track. Didn't actually collect anybody, so that's good to see. Per Sandberg, just at the end of this train right now, right behind him is Grosdanek. You see the top 8, just 2 cars have made a swap. Kendall Frattini. Everybody else in the top 8 has stayed the same. The rest of the field is absolute carnage at the moment, with Braden Hope up 7 already. So Sambo's going to be happy here, but if Chase is unable to really catch up here, and I think he's struggling on the hill, he's having to use the elastic band to get back up, and just look how aggressive they are when it comes to braking. And this is tough here, Jake, because it's one thing to go down Skyline, it's another to follow a car, but then it's another thing again to follow 6 other cars down Skyline.
Try 8 if you're Adnan Grosdanek. He's managed to catch the back of the group now. He's dropped Jake Ratcliffe to the tune of a second, and now Justin Hodge is going to have a turn at trying to get by. So these early laps are going to say the story of this race. Remember, they've got a pit stop to work with here, and so in a pack like this, you want to get up as high as possible, and you need someone to come in the pits with you. Hodge now makes the move in the number 99 machine, then on the inside, looking for a pass that is complete 100 as he jams on the brakes, goes into the chase corner. He gets the pass sorted. Grosdanek now will have his go through on Per Sandberg, and the Swede will lose that place out. So Adnan happy with the fact that he's bringing himself into play, and you're never truly out of it at Mount Panorama. That's the key. If you can stay in that main group, you've always got a shot of victory, and Grosdanek's given himself that. 1 car slow out the final corner. That's Scriffignano, who is going to have himself an issue as he slid it out through the final corner and bounced the curb crazily. Grosdanek with the fastest lap check mark next to his name.
Yeah, you never want to be hitting that curb too aggressive. It's a very raised curb, and he's lucky to get there. This is Braden Hope. Remember, he was having such a good run here, and he's already up 8. Well, he was up 8 places. He's lost it now to Ollie Bailey. Bailey's going to take this, and Braden smartly decides it's not worth it. However, Borowski didn't get the script, and Hope's going to have to just slot in there and almost a tap on the back there from Friedman. In fact, it was, because look how upset the car has gotten, braking for the corner up in front at Akoba. They're trying to go 2x2 here as they hit the cutting, and indeed they'll go 2x2, 1x2, you name it. They are trying to do this. This is Grosdanek battling with Lars Fischer. You've got Braden Hope as well in the battle here. Grosdanek, Jakey trying to take this too wide up the hill.
It's tough, but he's got the inside for the next 3 left-handers here. So over through Solomon Park, he's got it. Now he'll look at Metal Grey, and he'll hope that he's got the line. He does. Now for McPhillamy in the vista view of Peter Brock's skyline. It's still door in by Lars Fischer. There's contact between them. Oh, you could see the reaction there of course, Danic there. His eyes lit up. He was going, oh, that was close. And he worked down the hill, knowing that Sandberg was there. It could have been so much more. But ultimately, it's about Adekoba trying to get by Dario Frattini. And if Frattini's clever about this, he'll actually want to see Matt Kendall then run away from him, because he knows that Grosdanic will then be stuck with 4th at best.
And that's going to be good as well. Frattini had to play the role that Friedman had last week, where Friedman was able to just work with Kendall to allow him to get that victory, and that's what he'll need to do today. Different teammates, same scenario. Lars Fischer lost his out to Michael Chase early on the lap, but now he's looking for the move, and he'll try and do this, and Chase decides it's not worth it, and I don't blame him, because some of these drivers are still not used, well, they're getting used to this 36% fuel tank. This is the race where you need to do a lot more fuel saving than before, due to how open the throttle will be for most of the lap. And I think this is where you might see some of the drivers just strategically go, no, after you, I insist.
Oh, Ratcliffe in the wall, and there's another car that's been caught out. I think it's Ollie Bailey who's there, and bang, over the top goes Braden Hope, who rolled across the front stretch. Luño is going to pick up the pieces through all of them, but a massive, massive hit on the final corner of Murray's, the last place you'd expect an incident.
Yeah, in fact, I think it was 2 cars both going off. Yeah, it was actually Milo and Ratcliffe both going off there. Ratcliffe's had to take a tow, but Milo's had to take a tow. And it's not the place you expected, because it was also on the run. Grosdanic, while we're talking about this, is making some moves again. I managed to get that around there to try and hold on. Chase going down the order again. I wonder if he's got some issues, because they're slowing down and they're doing what he's doing, and he's responded right away. But this is an interesting battle here for Chase. It almost feels he's being a bit too passive on the fuel. And that incident there at the end of the lap, it has been noted between the 17 and the 11.
I don't think it's fuel for Michael Chase. I think it was just a case of, I'm not so happy on the inside. So Ratcliffe then bounces over the curb on the inside. He's just going to catch the wall on the outside. Bang, there's that hit. He's followed in then by Ollie Bailey. And then there's a case, Milo, bang, he hits the car, unsighted. Braden Hope, unsighted, and rolls.
Yeah, he did a barrel roll, and that's not the barrel roll you want to see. There's actually some in the past, some big-time barrel rolls on the final corner at Bathurst here during the Bathurst 1000. So it is a corner that has its legacy due to incidents, but not the way the drivers would have want to have seen that, and that's going to cause a lot of issues. All of them taking a tow. They'll have to come back out and hopefully get some more points. Ratcliffe, that's a big deal when it comes to the amateur battle. He will definitely want to be coming out as fast as he can. As we just see Chase going down. Let's look at this other angle, because this is how Braden sees it. And yeah, you're not going to see anything. You see the smoke, but by the time the driver's seen it, he's gone into it. And I do feel, though, you probably could have lifted when you see smoke, but it's tough to see it.
Yeah, I think there's a reality out there in iRacing as Adekoba thinks of a move in towards Murray's, but lifts out of it at the 11th hour. There is a sense of drivers want to just pin their foot through and think they're Kimi Räikkönen through the smoke in 2003, 2004. But they can't have that luxury. You know that you've got an incident in front. Yellow flags will be out for a car that stopped. So you've got to take all precautions. And that's just a lack of awareness and reaction there to what is happening out there. That's what's caused the incident going forward. Justin Hodge off the back then of the leading group. It's 9 at the front of this field. And Adekoba ever calm out there as he works his way up towards Quarry Corner right now, and someone who knows what it takes to go and win these races. But as he sits down and looks to hold himself out, El Capitan Fantastico right now has found himself a little bit short of fantastic this season. Here comes again Adnan Grosdanic, to the outside of Lars Fischer. Fischer's going to push him all the way to the property fence. But ultimately, you will lose the dispute with the council, sir.
Yeah, you don't want to lose a dispute with the council. Remember, if you hit that barrier, you're going to pay the fine on the road. Technically, this is the street track, remember? So as we go through fire and the flames, Grosdanek finally gets that move done, and he's pushing forward. I got to say, that's the most animated we've seen Ade Koba on a camera all season, and it was just him just having a little bit of a scratch there. He had a bit of an itch to try and solve on the straight. So it just goes to show the focus some of these drivers have, and you've got to admit, when you're going down this hill, you need all the focus you can get, because one mistake, well, we saw it on the start line. It only cost a few drivers as Fisher decides he wants in here, and he's got the groove, and he's got the camber of the Forest Elbow. They're going to go side by side down the straight.
You almost need, in a scenario like this, I know they're open tops, but to tuck your head down and do the old karting trick to get yourself a couple kilometers an hour. Hi, Lars. They're side by side. They've built the gap to 0.8 of a second now, the front five. That's what happens. One move at the Forest Elbow, you can't get it done, and they are pretty much wing mirror to wing mirror as they work through the chase and into this left-right chicane. Fisher then on that inside line. They're going to lean on each other, and the lean back is Adnan Grosdanek saying that is going to be my place. But again, 1.1 seconds, more work to be done. Lars trying to pivot for an angle. Again at Murray's, it's not there. Sandberg and Chase very wisely watching two very aggressive drivers going at it together. The front five playing a lot of ball, but I can only note that Nicholas Goebel has not lost the race lead for 1 second, which says to me he's got a lot of fuel saving to do.
Yeah, I wonder if he does, if he knows that. In fact, actually, we looked at it. The moment that Grosdanek and Fisher went down Conrad, they were over a second away from the leaders, and they've caught that back up. A lot of that could be just the elastic band is still working there for them. A lot of it as well could be that these drivers are probably fuel saving. And you've got Taron almost playing wingman right now to Goebel, and it's actually working because Kendall doesn't want to make a move right now. He needs to just play it safe. So I look towards Kendall, I look towards Frattini at the end of this race. If they're able to save the fuel now, they'll be able to do it. But you look at these incidents, you look at these pit stops. We said it the first time we came into the endurance rounds, Jake. The 5-star drivers have to work together in the pit. They didn't. They didn't the last endurance race. If they don't do it this time, well, somebody call Zach Wolf, because I think they might need, Zach Brown, sorry, they might need a new strategy, you know the words.
Well, you can call both Zach Brown and Toto Wolff if you want, because this is all about hold your nerve, keep yourself steady, and know that it is all about giving yourself what you can. It's not a case of waiting to minute 32 or lap 32 or however you want to do it. It's about sitting down, understanding what the context of what you need is, and I don't think Grosdanek has had to do much here to fuel save, because he's had to spend a little bit of time running through cars one at a time. He's +6 for the day at the moment, and he'll have Ade Koba as the next +7 target right now. I would also look at drivers trying to make moves, because they'll know track position is going to play a huge factor. Victor Bernas, by the way, with an internet drop, that's going to bring him down to 19th, but it's about give yourself room when you hit the pits. And Ade Koba says, I want none of Grosdanek. Down the inside of Dario Frattini. Can he finally unlock that? Frattini's there. Oh my! And now Grosdanek is around. And he goes there with the likes of Sandberg, as well as Michael Chase, finding himself in the wrong place. As quickly as one driver makes a move, 6 or 7 find the problem. That's what we talked about with Grosdanek. Lars Fischer just pushed on the rear and didn't stop.
Yeah, it was the lightest attacks from Fisher there. I don't think he realised what was happening. They were trying to jostle for position on the exit there at the Chaser, technically corner 22. And I think they did not realise. And look at the numbers here. You've got the 34, the 96, the 14, the 73, and the 371. 5 cars all being investigated. Well, they're being noted. Would not be surprised if that's investigated. It was the lightest of taps from Lars. But it was just one of those that if you don't see the situation, those light taps can really cause a moment. And unfortunately, that may come back to bite. I think we may see some damage, some fast repairs, but look at the replay here, Jake. It's just that lightest of tap after they're trying to go side by side.
Right, so here's the move then by Ade Koba. It's a clean move. He tries to leave just enough room. and just Lars Fischer jumps on the scene with a head of steam that he does not really react in time. Tags Adnan Grozdanic, tries to drive through him. Michael Chase is unlucky. He's got nowhere to go on that inside. He did everything right. So there'll be a lot to try and unpack. Grozdanic now down to 13th after that incident, and I think Lars Fischer here is going to be looking over at Ronald Mansfeld over in the stewarding chair, going, "Please don't penalise me," but he knows it's due.
Yeah, I think he's trying to hide right now and just put the hood over him there to just avoid. Watch this again from Lars's view, and he's taking the line like you expected, and you could argue he probably didn't know that Adnan was going to go back there. But at the same time, you do run that curb a little bit, and Adnan was just off the curb. However, he was always on the racing line, despite he wasn't on the curb, which is the conventional line here on iRacing. And I think that's going to be the killer there, was even though you could say he wasn't conventional, he was still on the racing line. And Lars really, I think he was going to go for a door that was always closing.
Well, Ade Kober's got his move at turn 1 on this lap, but now he's gone for that. He's gone for second. Oh, magical there to get that pass. He wants position now, dives down that Kendall, makes a meal of his compatriot David Teron, and he is just slicing and dicing and wheeler-dealing here in Mount Panorama, because he's up to second and he's realised it's go time if I want anything in this title race.
And I wonder now, because he knows what's happened to Grozdanic, so I wonder if this is him now looking for a move, because Goebel, if I'm Goebel right now, I'm going to say, take it. I need to start fuel saving. Like these guys at the moment, they don't know what they're doing. Justin Hodge just got overtaken around the outside from Borowski there. Sandberg right behind, and Hodge is out of position as Sandberg leads, is right there. Right at the back, trying to do the push, going to push Borowski there, and that Smart just zones out Justin Hodge once again. Oh, but he's going to try and go around the outside here at Quarry. That's so tough with the way it cowers, Jake. You cannot do that and move around the outside. Got a little bit of overlap here, but I think he might get back out of it. Nope, overlap still on as they come through the cutting. And again, another camber corner, and very well done around the outside by Sandberg.
No drive for Henry Mackenzie Friedman. Justin Hodge then will realise if they continue to fight like this, that group of 3 behind, Grozdanic, Chase and Scriffignano, might want to try and get involved, and it'll be all on. They don't want to drop Per Sandberg, and look at it here, 9/10 of a second coming up over towards Metal Grate, because there's a Metal Grate there on the right-hand side. Now they work through McPhillamy, and Borowski here will look to attack the little bit bruised Lars Fischer there after the contact he sustained with Grozdanic. So this group will be sitting down, and we say 50-minute race. Pit window, pretty much, you're looking at in the next 2 to 3 laps as being open. So who's got placement for where they want to be?
More important as well, who will take the bullet and use their fast repair, because there was a number of cars that had to use their will probably need to use it in that situation. Kober looking for the move, and the Serpentine is on. Look at the Serpentine. He's going to try this around the outside of the kink here as they come down Conrod to the chase. They'll go, and Kober's got it. In fact, it almost was like Goebel just said, I don't want this lead anymore. I want to stop fuel saving. Almost goes into the back there of Kober. He almost did a large Fischer. Still got the overlap. Maybe he wants this. Interesting, and an interesting moment here. We do have 2 penalties as the lead changes once again. The number 17, Milo gets a 5-second penalty for that lap 4 incident. And the number 11, which is Braden Hope, a 10-second incident penalty.
Yeah, that would be for not moving in time, because he had ample time to make it happen. So as they have chopped and changed here, Goebel and Lopez, they've gone at it year after year against each other. 2 very experienced drivers. Now here comes the attempt. Frattini pushing desperately on Matt Kendall to stay with these drivers, and then, oh sorry, Kendall trying to push on David Teron to stay with these drivers. Look at them fan, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of Frattini up into the quarry corner, and so they now hold themselves on their 9th lap of this race with another climb up the mountain to go of 5 of 5, and then of 3 is the group that they have sat ready and waiting here. Now into the cutting out of turn 4 and back up the hill, looking over towards Griffin's Mount as they go through. So the penalties rolling on in, as you can see here, is brought to you by Race Control. We're now setting up then for this pit window, and I would argue Ade Koba's going to try and make this move, and when he makes it stick here, Craig, he will dive for pit lane.
Yeah, usually when you see a driver start to be a little bit more aggressive, it's a telltale sign of it's pit time. So I wonder now if it is really him just being told in his head, or telling himself it's hammer time right now, to look for the move or look for the opportunity, because Goebel is going to be struggling on fuel. Remember, he's been leading the entire race so far. And you wonder, yeah, look at that line. Look at that line. That was not a mistake line. That was him saying, take it. I think that Goebel needs to fuel save. I reckon the 5-star guys of Teron and Goebel, I reckon they're on a strategy right now.
I reckon so too. So if Ade Koba wants that lead, by all means, go forward with it. March on with strength that you've got. But David Teron here is going to push, and they're going to push back. So it might have been just a pure mistake there of missing a braking marker. Nicholas Goebel gets slung back to the lead, but Ade's not sitting back with it. He has a little foray towards the inside. Not much, but enough. And they've got to be careful here, because Lars Fischer's back there at 3 seconds. If they start playing games, it's interesting. No shocks that Nicholas Goebel has to come into pit lane first, and he will be on a big fuel save then if he has to be on his own for this lap. Lars Fischer also comes in, so it's a big 5-star strategy here.
Yeah, but I am surprised. I think Kobo almost was going to go in there and then decided no. And I think that's wise from Ade there not to go in. We see more drivers coming in as well. Grosdanek comes in. Michael Chase as well. And again, not a bad idea for some of these drivers to just take that pit stop, reset, recycle. By the time they come back out, it'll be officially halfway through. And you can see there is that decision by Race Control. That was Hodge for that lap 4 incident there, where he did not take enough time on to react there. So 10 seconds for him. He is back out, I think, so that's going to be one thing, but that's going to be a big hit for him later on in the race.
Yeah, we will confirm Braden Hope there, the driver who picked up those 10 seconds, and so being a lap down and the last of the cars running at the moment, he will be even more last out there as far as it stands. Lots of smoke leaving pits then. Lars Fischer, Adnan's done a really good job actually in that pit stop. He might be able to leapfrog up to Lars with a bit of fuel saving. He's got Giuseppe Milo between him as well, which will give him something to work with to jump up. Kendall in third, loving this, staying out of trouble. There's Adnan Grosdanic. I think he's put himself back into the fight here for what's going on with an underfill at the stop, Craig. But obviously he is going to have to get to Lars Fischer and then hug him pretty much like his childhood cuddly toy.
Yeah, I wonder if Fischer actually had a slower stop, because Grosdanic and Chase, cone to cone, 42.4 seconds. Goebel, 44.5. Fischer, 46.3. So I wonder if that was also Fischer making a mistake there, as a couple of the drivers taking really good fuel. But Grosdanic, one of the things he loves is that he drives the Production Car Challenge a lot, and he drives the endurance race. He is used to this fuel tank. He knows how to get the most out of it. So I think he's going to be happy. But for these drivers, tip of the hat here. We've still got 11 drivers yet to take a pit. And Justin Hodge has decided, I would love to retake a position here. They're not going to go free wide into the chase. That would be very risky. They don't indeed. And Sandberg finally said, okay, Justin, you got that position.
Yep, so that critical, and this is the move then that set it up for Adrian Borowski, who went around the outside and straight to the inside. So they're in 1, 2, 3. Only David Teron of the leaders hits the lane. So there's a lot in. Per Sandberg really slow down into the pits then. He has just not got anything sorted. He's dropped probably about 2.5 seconds as Per, not being comfortable into pit lane. So that's worth noting here that Per Sandberg might also now start to fall back, as it's 3 clear right now. It's the 2 teammates of Kendall and Frattini with Ade Cobra out there. There's Adnan Grozdanic, and he's got his tow rope attached to the back of Lars Fischer, who turned him around earlier on in the race.
I don't think it's a tow rope. I think it might be a lasso here. Remember, Australia do have a bit of cattle, so they might be using a lasso out there. And I think he's managed to pull himself right there on Fischer. And this is going to resurrect that battle. I think they both took their repairs. Just looking, no. Fischer did not take a repair there, and neither did Grozdanic. It's minor damage. Yes, the bumper looks a little bit damaged, a little bit worse for wear. And, you know, I'd be saying that I just ran over a pothole, but that is interesting that this is not affecting them. And Grozdanic is now just giving the bump and saying, look, work with me, okay? We fought. Let's work right now. Teron is 5 seconds up the road, and he was the leader. Work with me.
Yeah, that's key. So they've done well off the stop. Justin Hodge as well. Borowski has fallen back with Michael Chase, and Per Sandberg even further back than that. Scriffignano with the yet to pit Lars Orish out there. So the difference is being found. Kendall here in second position. They will note that. They will note where Goebel is. They will note where David Teron is. It was 1 second that David Teron has been able to pull over Nicholas Goebel, his own teammate, who was first, remember, into the pit. So being on his own has cost him a second right now to his teammate. He's going to have to burn that fuel to get back so that he can hope to save some more in the second half of this race. And are they going to start pushing here, realizing that they've got a chance to overcut with this strategy, knowing that it will take a couple of laps for the tyres if they do elect to take some to get themselves to where they need to be? I think it's a day of right side tyres if they want it, but 1, 2 and 3 are happy in their line. Are there takers? No, they'll go again. They've done brilliantly on their economy.
Now this is interesting. What have they done that the others haven't? Is it the bump drafting? Is it just something going? You've got to feel they've got to pit as well. Shout out to Lars Ulrich as well. He's yet to pit as well. They're the last 5 drivers. In fact, Mackenzie Friedman's just taken a tow. Mackenzie Friedman, Henry has taken a tow. He's crashed in the pit lane. He's hit the tyre barrier.
Well, we thought there was going to be one, and he's overcooked it in, tried to get it out of the way, and that tyre bundle doesn't move for anybody. They've reinforced it with concrete out there. So ultimately for Henry Mackenzie Friedman, it's a short tow, and he can use his fast repair if he's got it ticked.
But it's a short tow, but it's also a tow. Watch this, and the drivers have been taking a lot of speed down here, and he's taking too much. And the moment he's tried to get it in because he knew how hard that barrier would be. He tore apart the bumper. You can't see the wheel there on the right because there is no wheel. The wheel's gone. Your wheel is gone, and Henry, unfortunately, has gone down the order. He's still there in the pit, already officially into 15th position. That's a tough break there for the man that was battling so well last week. He's unfortunate there as Grozdanic. Well, you got to give a shout to Grozdanic. Fischer let him by, and Grozdanic let Fischer by once again. They're playing a little bit of Texas Hold'em right now.
After you. No, the gap's now 6.3 seconds to those two working together in front. After yous aren't working, you can see the damage to the front bumper there of that Miata, which is in play. So Lars Fischer can realise here that this is the big pushing game that they've got. They need numbers in the group, and they need everyone to play ball, and they just won't. So this is where honours are going to have to be fought. Milo pulling out of line then and allowing everybody to go through. Giuseppe Milo, remember, is 1 lap down, so doesn't want to affect himself. Only other car of the front 4 is your AM leader, Adrian Lunio, who is out there at the moment. He's there in 4th place. He'll be due to make his stop. And actually, I think he's driven a really nice race. He'll be playing for honours against Elijah White and Jake Ratcliffe, who are still out there going.
Yeah, I know that before the pit stops, White was the man leading the amateurs, and it's a big deal now for Lunio. He can actually be happy with where he's going. Are they coming in? Everybody comes in. Koba, Kendall, Frattini all dive in. Let's hope no one hits the barrier. They keep it safe. And the speeds they carry down that pit lane entry, Jake, scares me a lot. I would be on the brakes, and I'd be in first gear to try and go down there.
Yeah, I would be concerned about how aggressive you have to be out there. Here's a look at Adrian here, who's really trying to wrestle the car through the corners. Hey, guys, yeah, I'm out here. I note that you're there behind me, so I'll make that dive down into pits, because just behind him, Nicholas Goebel and David Teron at 4 seconds works himself then through the left and right and onto pit lane. It is a late commitment cone out there. Tyres going on for Ade Koba, and Goebel's going to be there. Look at that, straight through. Has Ade taken tyres late here, and he's missed the queue of everybody else. Kendall is going to come out in the lead. Dario Frattini will be second, and Ade Koba, he's missed the boat, and he'll be going, wait for me, down the gangway, because they've left him for dust.
Wow, that was a big mistake there from Koba. He's no Captain Fantastico today. Unfortunately, he's going to have to find another way to get through. Now the drivers have stunned their fuel save, and now 18 minutes to go. It is full power out there for Koba, but I do wonder if that's going to help him. He doesn't have to fuel save. All he's got to do now is just get past just a couple 5-star racing cars. Just a couple other drivers as well to look at as well. So it's going to be tough for him now. He's got 4 cars, 2 teams. He's on his own. But if anyone can do it, it's Ade Koba.
But he's 2 seconds down, and he's got to deal with the fact he's got no toe over the hill. Look at that gap extend now, 2.2 seconds. It's just continuing to skyrocket. It's 4v1. He's off the back if he's not careful. Lars Fischer, Adnan Grozdanic and co, they will all look to try and jump into that. Sandberg and Chase have been absolutely detached off the back of that group, so suddenly it becomes a group of 3 chasing it down. But it's a game of the teammates out there of 2v2. And so if you sit down and put it in that sort of spec right now, Dario Frattini will have the biggest role in the world. He will decide who wins this race.
And I think he will help his teammate, Matt Kendall. It'll be all right if they can push each other's NASCAR Super Speedway style, but you've got to be side by side. And now look at this, because look at the gaps. Frattini has been on the back of Kendall for so much this race. I almost have to worry if we need to have a little bit of you know.
Oh, hang on, that'll be wide.
There.
Sorry,
that's wide. That's a big mistake. And hang on, they just let Goebel just get past both of them. That's interesting.
I like that. I really like that, because Goebel's been struggling on fuel. Get the guy who's been struggling the most on fuel to work at the front. That's good. I just saw an incident, end of lap 12, under investigation. Adrian Borowski and Michael Chase at the chase, and Chase turned Borowski across his nose at the chase.
Yeah, it looked like it was the coming together of the two minds there. This is Braden Hope just coming down as well. I think he's at a moment. That's not how you take Skyline. And that's the barrier there, and we've all done it. Just a little bit too much speed, and you have to brake before you go down the dip. Then you have to lift off the brake to start your turn and brake again. And it almost looks like he just took a bit too much off the brake pedal there to lose out. But this is interesting because Teron is still on the elastic band, but that's 6/10 between Frattini and Teron. That's not what he wants, because look who's behind him. He's done it, you know, Jake. He's done it, has Koba.
They were playing the game of trying to fuel save and say, we want a certain driver in front. That's how much time it's cost them. Only 5 seconds back, Fischer, Grozdanic and Hodge. And so if they're going to continue to play these games with 15 minutes to go, and that will be about 6 laps of racing, you're going to get these guys into play. And Grozdanic, who is going to be absolutely on it now from now till the end of this race. He wants every excuse for any points he can get on. He knows that he's got a championship to defend, and this is the way he does it. Elijah White, by the way, has come out with the AM lead, but Lunio is only a couple tenths of a second behind. So we got an AM lead battle for the championship. We got a battle going on here with your pro leader and the overall race lead. It's all on here at Mount Panorama.
Yeah, well, let's just have a quick look at this replay. This was the Borowski Chase incident. Borowski there on the right, and yeah, Chase is trying to just tighten up there for Borowski went a bit too close there. So we'll wait to see what the stewards decide is a penalty, but they just finished another incident they were looking at before. So it does make me wonder as well what that is. And yeah, you've seen it. You've seen that.
Oh, Adnan Grozdanic has been given a 10-second penalty for causing a collision. So that is really going to hurt his time. And I look 10 seconds down the road for Adnan. That's putting him with Borowski and Michael Chase right now. So he's going to have to motor anything he can. I think he's not going to be best pleased that he's got a penalty for that. I don't think that he's done that. The only reason I can think he's got a penalty for it there, Craig, was the fact he didn't hold the brakes, came back across the circuit and tagged Michael Chase.
It could be. It could be that. I mean, we'll have to look and see what the official report is to look at that afterwards. And well, that's a car doing a little bit of rally cross there. Was that you, Dario? It was indeed. So this is going to be interesting, though, for Grozdanic, because this actually changes the complexion of the championship. And he now knows that he has to start working hard in this battle. What has he got to do? I tell you what, I'm also looking. We're seeing Grozdanic as well. Ade Koba, remember I was saying he caught back up? He's just got past David Teron.
David Teron, who has always been a driver who is up there as a threat, but now finds himself in a place where he's got to hold on to the rear of this group. He's not in the right position here. And so Ade Koba, who has had to maraud his way from 5th to 1st once already just before the pit stop, now is going to have to do so afterwards and make it happen. Lunio through on Elijah White in a second clear. He's found his form and now leads AMS in 13th place. But these 5 realise that they've got a game of cat and mouse to play. And I'm looking at Nicholas Goebel here, and he's not as confident on the front here. Matt Kendall's clearly got a bone to pick because he's looking mighty fast over the top of the hill. And Dario Frattini knows it. And so the question is to be asked, at what point do you light the fuse paper and say, Matt, go out and lead and go out and do what you can?
Well, let's look at the time left on the race. It's 12 minutes to go, and you're looking at about 20 laps today, and you're on lap 15. So you've got about 6 laps to go. Normally, this is go time, but on a track that is 2.5 minutes long, extend that by a couple laps. And I wonder if we wait until there's 7 minutes to go until we see a move, or they could just do it right now. Hear you talking, Jake, and decide this is it. A little bit of a bump here from Frattini to make that going through. He does indeed. Now Goebel has to look to see what he can do. He may try to outbrake here, split the two of them together. They'll try to fight. This is what the teammates do. Oh, they came together, but they've held it on.
They've held it, but at what cost here? Kendall's going to get 4 tenths down the road, and everyone now is scattering. Goebel's going to be under threat from Ade Koba. He doesn't make the move and stays and waits, and there you can see the muscles flexing there on that direct drive steering wheel that Ade Koba plays with, and now he realizes, look, I've got to go. Turn 1, he'll lunge back down the inside, and Goebel well out to the throttle through turn 1. Not having any of that at Hell Corner. He knows that he's looking at heaven at the end of this race if he can get to the win. He knows that it's going to be through hellfire and brimstone for Ade Koba. Every move he can get. Now Dario Frattini pushing for all he's worth with 10:50 on the clock.
The key thing here is where Goebel went through and they were happy with Kendall and Frattini was happy. I don't think Koba will allow him to get back through. Another incident there. Michael Chase does actually get the penalty there, as we thought. 5-second penalty there for Chase. So when you look at the penalties and you see the Grosdanic's got 10, it does line up with your theory there, Jake, that the 10 is probably due to the unsafe response of the car. Because the 5 seconds is what you usually get for an incident there. So Grosdanic's would probably be for that because Chase, clear cut, made the mistake going into the corner and just tightened up and turned into Borowski.
Yeah, so with that mistake, they call that 5, and so there's a big team that's working on it here behind the scenes as they go through in the students' room. They've got Ronald Mansfeld, who's there, Zoltan Shakat is there, as well as Remy Talent. So those 3 all looking at it and getting all of those decisions down in a very timely manner. You don't often see that from leagues. They normally just go, oh, we'll just sort it out post-race. So this, a very refreshing live stewarding team out out there here at MX5 United. Down the hill, Kendall, Frattini, Adekoba, Lopez, Goebel and Teron. Your 5. There is Adrian Luño out there in 13th place. And this was the pass that got him through for the AM lead against Elijah White.
Yeah, cool as you want, straight into the chase, using the slipstream as much as you can. And he's got that lead. And he had a real good VIR last week. He might be able to, knock on wood, take that back as he's still got Elijah White right behind him. Koba's gone for the double. Koba's gone for the double and he's got the lead. And I think he may hold on to this because Kendall's got nowhere to go. And now he's getting bumped from Nicholas Goebel.
From nowhere to somewhere, Adekoba, El Capitan Fantastico, has his shield once again at the front of this race. 8:48 as they cross the line, 4 laps to go here at Mount Panorama, and he's in his favourite place, the front, to try and defend. Matt Kendall, who knows that he's going to have to play a game of just score points. That's what he said his strategy would be. Score points, think about the result later. He now knows what his game's up because he's got Frattini to help him, but Goebel and Turon, in a little bit of fuel malaise, have to hold on. And if Adekoba's making moves like that, this is a much different game. They push.
They've got no choice to push because they can't go around the outside of Quarry. The moment they go around the outside of Quarry and they lose out, it's the moment that they bring Goebel and Turon right into this fight. So they have to accept that whatever Koba does, they have to follow. They're too close, too late of a stage on that straight to look for a move. And now they're just going to have to accept they're going up and down the hill and they've got the Spaniard in front of them and they've got no choice. What can Koba do? This is going to be such a tough run with 7.5 minutes to go to try and break this elastic band. That's not doable. He now has to be on the defense, but he also knows Kendall will not go without Frattini. So this is now just a game of 1 versus 2. It's not the handicap match I was expecting as well, Jake. I kind of feel like a little bit of a Survivor Series out there.
Yeah, this could be war games, though, in the final few laps of this race, as Luño then, as we see on the right of your screen, has Elijah White around the outside of Quarry. Turn 2, leading over to the cutting side by side for the AM lead. We look at this because Luño trying to make it work around the outside. Elijah White, ka-chow, can't get it done. Luño sticks the throttle in, heading up to the Griffin's Mount and retakes the AM lead.
Yeah, and that's all just due to that elevation there, the little ridges, because if you go a bit too tight there, you've got no choice and you have to accept that the throttle is, your car's going to bounce a little bit, and that was all allowed Luño around the outside to get the throttle down. These guys have been getting the throttle, and Kendall realized he had to just stay behind Koba, and this is just them playing mind games right now. They're playing chess out there because Kendall has to just wait. He has to try and put the pressure on Koba. But if you've seen the camera of Adekoba, the guy doesn't make any reactions. The only time we see him animated is when he's taking his hand off to scratch his face.
He is stone cold, is Adekoba. There is no breaking that resolve, and that's why he was part of the legendary Iberica esports team a decade ago that had some of the best that the world had to offer. It's so important here that another member of 5-Star has just joined the sim in Chris Knox to go and have a look. The member of the School of Hard Knocks he is, and now so he'll be looking at this side by side down the hill over on Conrad. There's Elijah White to the outside. Luño chucks it back up the inside, gets it not stopped as he goes into the grass, and around the outside Elijah White gets the clearance sorted. Bye-bye, I'm sorry, says Adrian Luño. And so he realizes now that he's got to try and hold the slowdown that he's had to keep himself in this race, knowing there are 3 laps to go and knowing now that everyone is biding their time and waiting for this one because they're going to cross as well here, Craig. With about 30 seconds left on the clock at the line, they are knowing that this is going down to a fuel save.
Yeah, this would be the fuel save, but they already knew that this is probably the way the lap was going to go. I thought there we saw Luño was actually just telling himself calm down because he went a little bit too aggressive there and he knows that he's got the ability to take that AM lead. So might just be him having a little bit of a waiting moment like these drivers are having. And look at him, 5 abreast almost just backed up there for a moment because Frattini almost collected the wall as they're around 13, 14 there, but holds on. When do the 5-star guys decide to make a move here? Because it almost feels like that 2x2 team effort here is still going to play a factor here, Jake, because the 5-star guys will work together. Frattini and Kendall have to work together. And I do wonder if that could be a blessing for Adekoba here. Everybody else fights each other. He'll just accept the car in the middle of the track and just go, okay, that's fine. I'll take the lead.
I think they go for it. Last lap out of the chase. Not into the tail. Oh, no, they'll go now. Here comes Nicholas Goebel down the inside. He gets one. He looks for two. Contact with Kendall, and he can't get it done. A big bounce off of it. 7/10. Now the gap, and keep an eye on that gap behind. It's down to 3 seconds.
Down to 3 seconds, and that's going to help Grosdanek as well because he needs it. Borowski moving out to Michael Chase. There he is as well. You can see Borowski, the solid green car, losing out or gaining over Per Sandberg as well. Sorry, it was Per Sandberg, but that is crucial as well because they might be 12 seconds behind, but remember the time that you've got from Grosdanek here to Chase. And if Grosdanek just keeps on pushing, he'll only fall down to 8th position at the moment with the penalty. But now, oh, Jake, the Serpentine with 3 minutes to go on the penultimate lap. It started. Now you know that Koba has to be on the defense.
Well, it's 4/10, 6/10 as they were going up the mountain straight. Kendall and Frattini have caught the back. Goebel and Teron, they're going to have to use the mountain to close themselves up, so they won't get as much luxury of saving their fuel. Borowski side by side then, up the hill with Michael Chase, who remember's got the 5 seconds in the back pocket of penalty, and so there goes that pass. Per Sandberg, I think, is going to try and inherit a top 10 any which way it comes out there as he likes. It will be up over the top of the mountain. Adekoba, there you can see, having to change his grip slightly on the wheel because they are swarming around, and Goebel thinking around the outside at Metal Grate.
I think he was just trying to keep the car in a line, but he is actually trying to disturb the apple cart here. Frattini has him right behind, and this is going to be very risky as they come to Skyline. Backs off a little bit before braking. That's wide. I think he is just trying to go, but look at the forces. We talk about having to use a formula wheel over a round wheel in these cars. Then you go down Skyline and you're going left, you're going right, you're fighting the car. You're fighting the car as you brake for Forest Elbow here. Differ as well. And you just wonder, what has he got? Look at him. He's trying to take the inside, trying to take the outside. I feel Kendall has got this right now.
And it's another 5-star car as the next charger. Frattini's going to make his own bid for it now. Bump! He goes on Adekoba. I want to now have a go at pushing Ade along. Now where's going to be Nicholas Goebel? He's going to make his move over to the inside now. We see the grill behind. 2, almost 3 wide. Goebel to the outside. Koba takes a tap through the corner. Dario Frattini bringing himself into play. Goebel almost turns. Frattini there through the chase and off for the exit now. They'll be looking at Barney with a white flag. A little feint. I'm going to pit. No, I'm not. Last lap of this race comes along. Frattini there in play. Goebel now. Kendall and Teron, your top 5. Lars Fischer charging with 2:31s out there. They're in the 32 highs right now with that group in front. I think they're heavily fuel saving. They've had to allow a gap of 6 seconds. They're all wide. Then at turn 1, here comes the run. Nicholas Goebel now up the mountain. Is going to get one. And Frattini, I think, is going to have to fall into line and let Matt Kendall have a go if he wants to get it done. Kendall pushing on Nicholas Goebel. Please find clearance for me so I can take the natural line up into Quarry Corner at turn number 2. Yes is the answer, but are the teammates going to go for it? That's a little line there. Cheeky by Frattini. David Teron finds himself in the mix. All gloves off. 8-10. The cavalry's arrived in the form of Fischer, Grosdanek and Hodge, and they'll have one run at Conrad to make it happen. It's 8 cars at the end, and check who's got fuel, who's tapping the fuel gauge, who's going to hope that they're whispering to it saying please a little morsel more as they head over the top of the hill. Adekoba under threat now. Here comes Nicholas Goebel thinking of the inside, heading through to Metal Grate, and now over the top to McPhillamy and then to Peter Brock Skyline for the final time. Matt Kendall watches on and waits here, knowing with Frattini, Turon, Fischer, Grosdanic and Hodge. They're all there waiting. They're all there to pounce. If anything should go wrong on this final lap of the race, they work down the whitewater rapids of this fantastic downhill section to the Forest Elbow. And Ade, well, El Capitan, where's your shield? There's a big smash up in the back. Fischer checking up to Grosdanic, checking up to Hodge. They'll have to be careful of that. But now, hard over to the inside, goes Ade Koba. It's Goebel who's got the best look now of where they're going to go. And remember, Matt Kendall's in this. Oh, he tries to go for the gap. 2 times in the grass. Kendall tries to force the gap through the middle. He has a wiggle as well. Oh, my goodness. Frattini onto the push as they work themselves through. Goebel now to the inside. He's trying to make it happen. 3 wide, they go in, and they make contact everywhere. Kendall's in the grass. Goebel almost speeds with Ade Koba. Elbows out, stuff to Murray's. 2 wide it still is. Grosdanic's now trying to make a move to get something late, but Goebel doesn't say die. Down to the inside. He's going to get it. Ade Koba's forced down and into the wall. Bang! There's the turn over the line. It's Goebbels who takes it, and Kendall on a drag race just beats Teron to 3rd.
In drama, Lance Fischer finishes in 5th, but he has a black flag for an incident point. Borowski is going to take the run to the line. The run to the line is actually going to be Michael Chase. Oh, it's so tight between those. The gap between those two is going to be 0.037. Elijah White is going to come home after Lunio. I think he had to do some fuel saving. Not the best of set final parts here. Elijah White is going to take home the victory in the amateurs, and what a win that's going to be. It was just keep it calm, keep it collective, do everything that the leaders in the pros did not do, and they did it. And I'll tell you what, you look at those gaps, Jake. Matt Kendall, we see Elijah White go through. Matt Kendall edges David Teron for second by 0.017, and no surprise, that incident is being investigated.
And Adrian Lunio will cross the line second, and he'll be happy with that because he'll take some big points. But here's the key as they cross. Dario Frattini did cross the line with the rear of his car. The transponder is on the front.
Oh, that's a big deal, because that means that's where he finishes, and he finishes into 14th position. Lars Ulrich, he's giving the salute. The Aussie is going to finish at Bathurst, and I tell you what, he's going to be very happy. And I wonder if he's also celebrating, because there's the sunlight. Was that another clean race there by the Aussie? It might be 4 in a row for him.
You take that, 3 points, and you will say that it's more than Adrian Lunio, who we know does not have that bonus. Jake Ratcliffe then will cross the line, and he will get his finish as well as the last finisher on the leading lap. So that will be that as far as the field is concerned. And with Lars Fischer's penalty, he'll pick up an extra 35 seconds coming over the line. So it will unofficially, with penalties to be applied as well, look like this. Nicholas Goebel started on pole. He won this race. That tells none of the story here today at Mount Panorama. Matt Kendall picks up second and David Teron third. Adnan Grosdanic is fourth, but will drop to sixth over the line as his 10 seconds worth of penalty knock him back a couple spots. Justin Hodge then is fifth. Ade Koba in sixth after his run wide at the final corner caused chaos beyond chaos. Michael Chase will be seventh, but he's got 5 of his own. That will drop him back to ninth. So Adrian Borowski and Per Sandberg jump up. Philip Scriffignano, no problems, P10.
Into 11th, we just see will be Lars Fischer after that penalty. Elijah White comes home with the amateur victory ahead of Adrian Lunio, who will be in 13th position. And Lars Ulrich goes up 8 to finish in 14th. But Jake Ratcliffe, after that early incident, did come back into 15th, last on the lead lap. Then Dario Frattini will be 16th. Giuseppe Milo 2 laps down. He retired early in 17th. Henry Mackenzie Friedman took a retirement, as did Braden Hoke. So did Victor Burnoff in 20th, and we do have 4 more drivers. 2 didn't take the start, but Ollie Bailey did take the retirement in 21st. Charles Wolfe was 22nd. Vincent Mehlebucker and Dennis Lins did not take the start. They'll finish in 23rd and 24th, respectively.
A lot to try and uncover then from today's racing, and I think it goes no further than to go and talk with your race winner, Nicholas Goebel. Started first, finished first. If you looked at this race on paper, Nicholas, it was a calm race for you, but anything but, I think, from your perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually quite nerve-wracking. Because I don't know, when you qualify in first, you think you have a chance, right? You think you can do this, but in the end, there's still a 50-minute race, a pit stop, tire change, unknown strategy between you and the race victory. And then obviously at a track like Bathurst, where there's so much draft and play, we saw all the games, just before the pit stop window actually, and then also on the last lap, everyone trying to position themselves for that last lap shootout. And in the end, I think quite a lot of chaos ensued, but it was good fun. It was a great race. I pushed all race, tried to create a gap to the guys behind. I saw that Adnan and Lars were actually catching. We didn't have a lot of time to lose, but at the same time, you need to position yourself. So a lot of strategy, not a calm race at all.
Let's talk that last lap, because it was all about placement, giving yourself anything that you could. You were right place, right time for it, and had to get the elbows out at least on 3 occasions in the final 3 corners just to make sure that it was yours. So talk us through how you needed to place yourself on that last lap to make the race work for you.
Yeah, it's like I actually was planning to be the third car on the last lap, on the last back straight. But in the end, I found myself in P2 and thought, okay, if Ardai is maybe slowing it down very fast, on that last left-hander down the hill, if he's slowing down very much, then I can just slow down just as much, use the elevation, and then accelerate out of the corner, wait a slightly bit longer just to time the draft perfectly. It did somewhat work out in the end, I think, on the straight. I tried to get the move to the left-hand side, to get the inside for the last 2 turns, basically. Positioned my car there. I think there was, I don't know if it was netcode, if I just was maybe slightly over-ambitious, went to the left. I thought there was a bit of contact. We went back to the straight, and after that, actually, I think it's the first time that I took the last 2 turns in first gear. Because I didn't want to understeer. I didn't want to push anyone off track. I think Ade still went off track, bounced into the wall, but I think there was no contact there. So I'm actually quite happy to see that on the replay. Just from the cockpit view, I figured maybe it's my fault, but yeah, it seemed like he just had some understeer, went into the wall, and then unfortunately collected someone else behind.
So let's talk next week then, because you are working in terms of this season on a stage hunting profile. You've found a stage here at Mount Panorama. Now, question to you, is it going to be the same for you when it comes to Mid-Ohio, a circuit that I think isn't run as much as it used to be out there in the world of racing on iRacing, but still creates amazing close quarters battling?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very happy that Mid-Ohio made it on the schedule for this season in MX5 United. It's a track that I really love, and I think a lot of people that enjoy driving the MX5 love Mid-Ohio. It's technical, it's close quarter racing, it's just what these cars are designed to do. In the end, probably no one thought about racing these things around Bathurst. So Mid-Ohio is a very good suit, and let's see. I think next week, it's quite technical. I know that David Theron, he's usually the quickest around there from our team, so maybe it's his turn then next time, and I'm actually quite happy he got a podium. So congrats, David. Shout out to him. Also congrats to everyone else. Very good race, and yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So thanks a lot.
Nicholas Goebel there, joining us, a race winner here today from Mount Panorama Bathurst. The driver who came home after all of that somehow in second is Matt Kendall, stood by with Craig King.
Well, first of all, Matt, I've got to ask the question, how did you avoid that massive incident on the last corner to get P2?
I'm not going to claim it was skill. Any number of things could have happened in that moment. I'm very fortunate that Dario had enough car left to clamp it down and not roll back. It's just so many things rush through your mind when you see that happening in front of you.
Yeah, let's talk about that with you and Dario as well, because a lot of the race was you two at the front working together, and at the end of the race you were working together. and you were happy for Nicholas to get past you, and then you were happy for Ade to get past you. Was there any point that you thought about splitting up for one of you to take the lead, or was the plan always to stick together until the end? Because at some point, it looked like you could have taken the lead, but you decided to stay together.
We wanted to stay together, just for the sake of predictability, but obviously most plans don't survive first contact, as the old saying goes. So in the end, it just evolved into the complete opposite of what we wanted. That's racing. Yeah, the plan was there to just stay there and see how it played out, just maintain the highest place possible.
Highest place. Sorry, go on. Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry.
No, I was going to say the highest place possible was P2 for you today, and especially with Grosdanek not having the best of days out there, it looks like this reels you back in for the championship as we head to Mid-Ohio. Are you now looking forward because you want to get that victory that get another victory in a race next week, because all of a sudden it looks like it's your championship almost?
Well, that'd be very nice, but I don't own Mid-Ohio at the moment, so I've got some work to do. Yeah, it's one of those things I've put off amidst other things, and I looked at the calendar and went, oh, that's a track I don't have. That's a bit of a problem. I'm going to need to work on that. But yeah, a win would be lovely there, but it's going to be tough to beat Adnan at that track, so we'll see.
Well, it's definitely going to be tough if you don't have the track. I think it'll be just a bit of practice for you this week to understand the iconic Mid-Ohio Raceway. Matt Kendall, before we let you go, just a couple shout-outs for yourself.
To my team, SD course, great bunch of lads. Yeah, that's I know, pretty terrible shout-out, but I think that's all I've got.
Well, it might be a terrible shout-out, but it's a fantastic day for you, Matt Kendall. Matt Kendall comes home P2 on the day, Jake. A fantastic drive and a good little bit of recovery at the end there.
Yeah, wonderful recovery, and it was an absolutely much-needed battle, and it's one of the great final laps that we've seen on the Global Sim Racing channel. So good. Let's take another look at it, shall we? And see just what there is to unpack then. Heading down into the chase. Goebbels got the inside. Outside line then is there for Matt Kendall. Frattini chucks himself into the mix and says, look, I'm going to want it. There's David Teron trying to say I've got a line. Adnan Grosdanic now decides he's going to wander down the inside, see what there is. They lean on each other, not once, not twice, but thrice, and into that final corner. Ade chucks himself in, just runs himself out of road. Bang! There's the hit then that goes through with Dario Frattini. Just enough avoidance, and Kendall, give him some credit, steals one against David Teron over the line there.
Yeah, steals that. Like I said, the gap was 0.017, and it was just a heads-up play, and I think he's right. Just drivers making sure they kept out of the way there, and very good job. You can see the difference as well. We saw that incident earlier in the race at the final corner there at Murray's, where some drivers didn't make the right reaction. All these drivers made the reaction, knew what they had to do, and even then, even with that, the gap was just so close by everybody. If you were to take the old Grand Tour cycling analogy there, Jay, that looks like it's a sprint race finish where you've had a big crash at the end, and Nicholas Goebbels just looks behind, doesn't care, and's got his hands off the handlebars celebrating.
Yeah, it very much looks like one of the classic Tour de France finishes out there. And we will note for Dario Frattini, it's the middle, the geometric center where it marks from, and not, in fact, from the front, as it's there for getting over the line. But as far as it goes, 7 days from now is the penultimate round of the championship. It's sprint and feature over at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and it is one of the old classics of iRacing out there. Such amazing action to battle over to the keyhole, and then, of course, through the likes of China Beach and Thunder Valley to hope that your day is there. It's with us as part of a Genesis Extreme production on December 9th. So jump in with us for that. And on top of that, keep this in mind as well. It is still iRacing Black Friday for all of, well, at least for me, 2 hours now. So you can get 50% off of all memberships and 25% off of early renewals and reactivations by heading over to iRacing.com/Black Friday, because the biggest iRacing sale of the year is not quite done yet. But from the entire team that has brought this show over to you, from the likes of Craig King, Christian Deploy, and Dougie Beard, my name's Jake Sperry, and this is what's coming up for you over the next few days of sim racing, because we're back at the mountain in a couple of days' time to see who will be crowned champion of the Skip Barber Race Series. You will catch that one then with our 6:15 UTC. It's a double at the Algarve when we look over to the south of Portugal for Grand Prix Legends and for IMSA Vintage on a Super Championship Saturday. And Sunday, we're back to the mountain once again. Can't get enough of it here at the Global Sim Racing channel. Classic Lotus Grand Prix will be tackling that at 4:30 on Sunday. But a day of days for many, a day where it goes wrong for others, a dramatic end to what was a heart-palpitating and I would say a case of a heart attack-inducing race towards the end. It was all about who could hold their nerve better than anyone else. El Capitan Fantastico, well, he just ran out of opportunity left. It is a case of hold yourself steady. A stage hunter picking up the win. Nicholas Goebel with a good battle. Matt Kendall closing down his gap. And Adrian Luño slightly opening his as we head in 7 days with MX5 United over to Mid-Ohio.
This is iRacing.
Three, four, five wide. Turn number one. Trouble for Borowski, and they scatter. Carroll made a massive chuck one to the inside. Three wide. Train going all the way back to Felix Cristiano.
Important for the AM category.
Elijah White. Kachow. He's got the plate. Goes Adek over. Carroll made down Matt Kendall. So Adnan Montani.